Is the impact player rule going to destroy the art of bowling in Indian cricket and the IPL?
A lot of cricketers, especially the legends of Indian cricket like Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma and recently even MS Dhoni, they've criticized the impact player rule and talked about how this is a rule just to increase TRP and entertainment for the crowd and not actually the quality of the game. Now, before we talk about the nitty-gritties of the impact player rule and how it has affected the game and how the batting numbers have just increased, hit that subscribe button.
Ever since the impact player rule has come into the IPL since 2023, the teams have been able to get much larger scores and they're doing this a lot more consistently as well. Take the example of the Sunrisers Hyderabad. This was a team that in 2021 and 2022 did not even cross the score of 200 in any of the matches that they played. Compare that to the SRH of the current day, 2023 as well as 2024. SRH crossed 200 so many times, and not just 200, we've seen them go bonkers right from ball one, the likes of Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma, absolutely dominating bowling lineups, and they've almost brought about a sort of cultural change in the way cricket is being played in the IPL. And to put it very simply, what the impact player rule is essentially doing is it's now making the squad a 12-man squad instead of a 11-man squad. Earlier, where the teams would only be able to play 7 specialist batters and maybe 4 specialist bowlers, they now have the option to play an extra specialist player depending on the situation of the match. SRH in their most recent game was able to play 5 specialist bowlers when they were bowling in that second innings, and they were able to do this because of the fact that the impact play rule was at play. This would not have happened earlier, where they would have been able to play only 4 specialist bowlers by not compromising their batting lineup, and they would have had an all-rounder somewhere in the middle.
Let's understand what this impact player rule does as a batting unit. When you're walking into bat knowing that you still have a cushion of an extra batter, you can essentially strike an attack from ball 1. When as compared to before, when you would have an attacking batter and another batter who would anchor the T20 innings, because of the impact player rule, your top 5 and 6 batters can just keep attacking because of that extra batter, playing a lot more freely and fearlessly and making sure they play to the maximum potential, which they would not have possibly done before the impact player rule itself.
Statistically speaking, and something that beautifully encapsulates how the impact player has absolutely increased the run rates in all of the IPLs, is the number of 200 plus and 220 plus scores that have increased each season of the IPL. In the IPL of 2021, there were 2 teams that did not cross the 200 run mark, and overall in that year's IPL, there were 9 scores of 200 plus and 4 scores of 220 plus. Coming to IPL 2022, 3 teams did not cross the 200 mark, but overall the number of 200 plus scores increased from 9 to 18, and the number of 220 scores was just 1. Enter the impact player rule. IPL 2023 as well as IPL 2024 saw all of the teams crossing 200 plus in at least one of the innings that they played. Coming to the IPL of 2023, the 200 plus score was breached 37 times and 220 plus was breached 6 times. That is an increase of almost double as compared to the IPL of 2022. And if you think this is something that was bonkers, IPL 2024 was even more nuts. Here 41 times 200 plus was breached, but if you look at the scores of 220 plus, this was crossed 21 times.
And of course, this is also reflective in the batter's average and strike rates in the last 4 years. Now, if you look at the average batting strike rate of batters since 2021 in the IPL, batters were striking at 134, which gradually increased to 142 in 2022 and gradually increased further to 149, but it skyrocketed to almost 160 last year. Interestingly enough, if you look at the batting average, it hasn't changed all that much. From 26 in 2021, it has just increased to 29 in 2024. And of course, this trend can also be seen in the run rate per over. In 2021, the average run rate per over was 8.0, whereas it increased to 8.5 in 2022, which slightly increased to 8.9 in 2023, but last year the run rate per over was around 9.5, which is almost 10 runs per over, which is also why we saw so many 200 run scores made.
Common perception because of the impact player rule is that the number of all-rounders through the seasons might have gone down. However, this has not necessarily been the case, but there has been a certain change. We looked at the batters in the top 6 for each year of IPL who've done a little bit of bowling, and this number is the highest in the IPL of 2021, where 23 of the top 6 also bowled some overs, whereas this number came down to 14 in the IPL of 2022, 17 in the IPL of 2023, and back to 14 in the IPL of 2024. Now, while the numbers don't point to any certain trend, what is interesting to see is the kind of players who are featuring in these lists. Most of the teams are looking to play all-rounders who are more bowling first. The likes of Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin, Sunil Narayan, Akshar Patel, and so many of these players are bowling first. Their primary skill is that they're good with the ball, and these are the players who would make a team alone on their bowling ability. However, the teams have also been able to use these players by floating them through the batting order, and these are the kinds of players who are getting a push in the IPL, especially since the impact player rule has taken over.
What this does though, however, is remove the kind of players from the playing 11 who do not specialize in one department. The best example is Washington Sundar, someone who's been in the Indian circuit in all three formats in the last couple of seasons, hasn't found a place in the playing 11 in the Gujarat Titans squad. This is because you'll never pick Washington Sundar as a pure batter, nor will you pick him as a pure bowler, because you can employ the impact player rule and use a specialist batter or a bowler instead. What this also does is, if you look at all-rounders like Andre Russell, Venkatesh Iyer or Vijay Shankar, they hardly get any overs anymore. If anything, Vijay Shankar has stopped bowling altogether since 2023.
Well, till now we've looked at the impact players' effect on teams as a whole and also on how the IPL itself has progressed into a batting-friendly tournament. We also take some case studies and examples of players and how it's affected their game. One of the first names that comes to mind when it comes to T20 cricket and doing well is Virat Kohli. While Kohli has always been a consistent run scorer, the IPLs from 2021 to 2024 and how the impact player has affected Kohli's game are something that's definitely worth exploring. Now, in the IPLs of 2021 and 2022, we do know the fact that Virat Kohli wasn't in the best of forms. This is also reflective in his averages as well as strike rates. He was only striking in the 110s and his averages were in the late 20s. But from there, in IPL 2023 was when Kohli had regained some sort of form, and this is also indicative in his average where he averaged 53 in that season. But something that I want to throw light on is his strike rate in that season. Kohli in the IPL 2023 season had a strike rate of 139, and with Kohli, here's the thing, right? We've always had a discussion on his strike rate and how he's someone who likes to anchor the innings and take his time. However, if you come to the IPL of 2024, a lot of people might not agree with that statement anymore. With an average of 61, that in itself is amazing. What was even more eye-catching was the strike rate at which he was scoring these runs. Because of the impact player rule and something that Kohli's mentioned himself, he was able to strike at almost 155 throughout that season. And this shows that even someone like Virat Kohli, who was not known for a power game but more of a touch and finding the gaps game, was able to use the impact player and explode his potential.
Going from one opener in the form of Virat Kohli to a rising star in Indian cricket, Abhishek Sharma, it's very evident how the impact player rule has just flourished his game. In 2021, he had an average of 16 with a strike rate of 130. Now, the average does improve in 2022, where he averages around 30 with a similar strike rate of around 130. Now, this does take a jump in 2023, where he strikes at 143 with an average of 20, but we do know how the 2024 just changed everything around. He started averaging 32 as an opener with a strike rate of 204. You would just know that he would start attacking the ball from ball one, regardless of swing or seam.
What the impact player has also done is allow specialist batters and bowlers who might have not made it to the 11s otherwise come in and get a chance for their respective franchises. An example of this is the young Ankrish Raghuvanshi, who got a chance to play for the KKR franchise in that 2024 IPL and also this year's IPL. Ankrish played 10 games with an average of 23 and a strike rate of 155. Now, while he is a promising batsman, no way was he getting a chance if it was the IPL of 22 or 21 where there was no impact player rule. This is great for teams who are looking to launch youngsters into their franchise and also a good chance for the youngsters themselves to get exposure to the highest level of cricket.
When you look at some of the bowlers who have made it into the India squad in the last couple of seasons, it is no surprise because of how they have done regardless of the impact player rule. What is interesting with Varun Chakravarti is that in 2021 he had an economy of around 6.5, which did increase to around 8.5 in 2022 and slightly decreased to 8.1 in 2023. And this is the year the impact player rule was even introduced. What's even more intriguing is that from 2023 to 24, his economy comes down from 8.1 to 8.0. And these are the 2 years where the impact player rule was introduced, and you can see the trend of his economy come down. And of course, these are also his best 2 seasons with the ball, because if you look at the wickets column, it's the 2 years in the IPL where he's got 20 plus wickets.
Contrast that to Rashid Khan, one of the biggest names in the T20 bowling arena. Rashid Khan's always been someone who's had an economy of around 6 in T20 franchise leagues all over the world. But since the introduction of the impact player rule, that economies jumped from 6.7 to 8.2 in 2023 and 8.4 in 2024. Not only that, he's also someone who's consistently been amongst the wickets, but in the IPL of 2024, 2024, Rashid Khan was absolutely found out, getting just 10 wickets in that IPL season, which has been his lowest ever. Of course, with the amount of cricket that Rashid Khan plays all over the world and all of the data that is available on him, you would think that he would eventually be found out, and that's what is happening with him at the moment. However, it would be naive to think that the impact player rule has not played a role in Rashid Khan being found out and being taken to the cleaners.
Now, if you look at an Indian prime fast bowler in the form of Mohammad Siraj, his numbers are a little interesting. In terms of economy, he had an economy of 6.7 in 2021, which took a leap to around 10 runs per over in 2022. But something to observe here is that since 2022, his economy has come down. In 2023, he had an economy of around 7, which again did take a jump to 9 runs per over in 2024. But what's more fascinating in these numbers are again the wickets column. For someone who never got 15 wickets in a season until 2023, in 2023 he took 19 wickets, and in 2024 he took 15 wickets apiece. But if you look at the overall wickets taken per match, it hasn't increased all that much since 2021. In 2021, you would take around 11.1 wickets per match, but in 24, it'll be around 11.5 wickets per match.
A lot of bowlers have also come forward and talked about how the impact player rule is absolutely derailing bowling as an art. In fact, Kagiso Rabada has also come forward and said that they should just call the sport batting instead of cricket. While the impact player rule does have a fair amount of pros, the cons are something that are detrimental to the game and need to be looked at. For starters, the IPL was competitive enough and there was an equal balance at some point between the bat and the ball, whereas with the introduction of the impact player rule, it has clearly become tilted towards the batting sides. And not only that, this feels like a rule that has been added more for just the entertainment purpose and not for actually upping the quality of cricket that is being played. What doesn't help either is the conditions that are coming into play. Pitches are being made far better and friendly for the batting sides, and not only that, what we've also seen is the decrease in the ground dimensions for a lot of grounds that the matches are being played at. The most recent example is the Gujarat ground, where the boundaries used to be a lot larger in the previous seasons, whereas this time around it's a lot smaller.
On the flip side of things, if you look at the players who have played for the Indian team recently, they have been able to flourish and play the kind of cricket that they want to because of the impact player rule. If you look at Abhishek Sharma in the last couple of seasons and the way he's gone about his batting, it is very obvious that it's because of the cushion of that extra batter that he can play the way he is. And even if you look at Varun Chakravarti, who's made a comeback into the India squad, it's because of the impact player rule that bowlers like him were forced to improve, were forced to become much better than they already were, and because of that you see him get a place in the international side. However, the problem lies in the fact that not everyone can just simply improve because of this one rule that has been introduced 2 years ago. And so this becomes a very dangerous game to play because you're playing with a player's confidence and the fact that a bowler who's coming through the ranks of domestic cricket is now in the IPL and now has to face the impact player rule, and with such small margins, his career might just get destroyed overnight. Even though this may not have been related to the impact player rule itself, Aswin the other day did talk about how the bowlers themselves might need their own psychologists because of how the game is moving forward.
This has been our video on the impact player rule. Definitely let us know in the comments what you think, if you're for this rule or against this rule. All of our links are in the description. Definitely give us a follow on social platforms, Instagram especially. Subscribe to our email newsletter. There's a WhatsApp channel that we have so that you can join it and stay up to date with Indian cricket. That's all from our end. Peace.